this is the downstairs area. This is all jazz. All the way to the end. All of these are jazz as well. It keeps looping around. Some more jazz over there. Downstairs area, the Pop Shop Records, Rochester, New York. Incredible stuff can be had, obviously, if you're patient enough to be digging. So, a lot of stuff, have to keep exploring, even though I've been here multiple times. Keep finding good stuff down here.
What's up, guys? This is Joe from the Analog Archive, back with another vinyl video. Today's video is going to be part 2 of my vinyl finds. Unlike part 1, most of the records that I'm going to show today are going to be from actual record stores, and they'll mostly come from my last trip to Rochester this past weekend, but also a trip that I had taken a few weeks ago to Rochester as well. So I hope that you like what you see. This is probably the best set of finds that I've had. And again, as I said in my last video, if you follow me on Instagram, the _analog archive, you will have seen that I've shown off quite a few of these in the last few weeks. But if not, please head on over there. Follow me so that you can kind of stay up with all this stuff. And we will kind of get started then. The first two are going to be more 7 inches that I've found. Both of these are going to be jazz. First one is Salute to Birdland. So this is Art Blakey. There's 4 tracks on this, so this is actually more of like an EP. It's on Emerson. The songs from this 7-inch EP comes from Art Blakey's 1955 album that was called just Blakey. I believe that was his first, or very, I think according to Discogs, it was one of his first sessions as a leader on Emerson. So this has got Gigi Grice on it as well on alto sax, Joe Gordon's on trumpet, Bernard Griggs is on bass, Walter Bishop's on piano, and then obviously Art Blakey's on the drums. Comes with this really nice kind of miniature jacket. I don't really have many of these across really any genres that I have for 7 inches, and so really great find there. The next one, and the other one I should say that I got was it's Charlie Rouse, and on the A side it is a Contasu, and then on the B side it is In Martinique. These songs come from Charlie Rouse's 1963 album for Blue Note, Bossa Nova, Bacchanal. This was an album, or a 7-inch, that I had seen before the pandemic, and I was thinking of buying it. I wasn't sure about it, but I passed on it, and then unfortunately all the record stores closed, so I didn't have a chance to get this. And when they reopened again in June, I had a chance to get this. I went back in looking for it, but it was no longer in. He had this, at Bob's shop, he had this glass case that was kind of commemorating Blue Note releases over the kind of mainly the 50s and 60s, everything from originals, but then it also had some modern releases as well, 12-inch, 10-inch, things like that. But this was in there as a 7-inch, but when I came back, that case was empty, and this most recent time, one of the employees was able to find this for me in the back, so really pleased to be able to get this, just real cheap, $4, and a real nice taste of this Bossa Nova album that Charlie Rouse had. This one is the only one that is not from Rochester. I got this actually just yesterday in the mail. Page 1, Joe Henderson. This is part of the Blue Note Classic series. This just came out last Friday on the 12th, and was really glad to get this. This was a record that was on my want list, but I just never really had a chance to get it, never really saw it. It's a pretty scarce album. There weren't a lot of pressings of it. Again, hard to find, but really glad that this was part of the classic series. This is the second classic series that I picked up. My last video, I'd had something else, Cannonball Adderley, that was shown as well. Really kind of excited to check this out. Haven't been as pleased with the quality control of these classic series compared to the 80th, but especially the Tone Poets. I know this was marketed as being a way for everybody to kind of have a chance to purchase it, because these are really only like $25, maybe $30 at most. But it just, the fact that they come with just generic paper sleeves that are difficult to get the record out without kind of causing scratches. And I've had a record that I actually have to return because it's warped. And just hope that the releases are going to continue to improve, and that this quality control can get a little bit better, so that there isn't going to be a lot of returns. But I'm excited for this one. This one didn't really have any of the problems in terms of there's no warp or anything like that. So hopefully it's just that Speak No Evil Wayne Shorter that I got last month that maybe had some issues. So glad to be able to pick that up. Page 1, a real classic, great album. The next two are going to be ones that I got from Record Archive. I've talked about Record Archive quite a few times on my channel. A great, huge warehouse of a store. And they've got a lot of jazz that's in the back in the stacks. It is very organized by specific artists that maybe had, that were more proficient, or more prolific, I should say, on the different labels that they were on. But then there were some that just got thrown under the generic, whatever their last name started with, so W or F or whatever it is. But this was one of the ones that I saw, Tony Fuscella. This is originally on Atlantic. This came out in, I think it was like late 1955. This is a Japanese press from the mid 70s. And just an album that I've seen before on Instagram. Originals of this are pretty expensive. But Tony Fuscella is on trumpet. Alan Eagers on tenor sax. Danny Banks on baritone sax. Chauncey Welsh is on trombone. Bill Triglia is on piano. Bill Anthony's on the bass. Junior Bradley's on the drums. So not a real well-known names. Reading the liner notes, it says that Phil, what was his last name? Is it Phil? Is that what it says? On a few of the tracks, there's a gentleman. Let's see where it says. Not seeing where that is. Maybe that's a typo. I'm not positive, but there's a few guys that were that played with like Jerry Mulligan, Stan Getz in the early 50s. The drummer, sorry, not the drummer, the bass player, Bill Anthony. He played with Stan Getz. And there's a few guys that had some experience with some bigger names kind of today, but a lot of them were more just kind of more obscure artists. But this sounds pretty good. It's got a mix of some slower kind of ballad songs, and then there are some up-tempo tracks as well. It's a good variety of both. But enjoyable album overall. The other one that I got at Record Archive, I'm really excited about. I had a chance to listen to this a few days ago. This is Barney Weiland. This originally came out in France on RCA in 1960. This is unfortunately not an original. This is a 1981 Japanese press. It's technically on RCA, or not RCA. Well, it is on RCA, but it was manufactured by RVC, which is a combination of RCA and Victor Musical Industries. They kind of came together and merged in the mid-70s. There's another pressing as well. It's a little bit earlier. It's like a 76 press that has like a turquoise label on it. Both of them are mono. This sounds incredible. This is probably the best sounding Japanese pressing that I have. I've been very pleased with the Japanese pressings that I've kind of been able to acquire. But this sounds incredible. This is very clean. And for 20 bucks, instead of paying probably about $600 to $800 or even more for an original, this was a great pickup. So I'm very excited about this. Wasn't even really looking for this. I was actually just flipping through the W section, and this caught my eye. This is a great album, and really glad to be able to pick that up. All right, let's continue. These last few, there's a few left, 5 left. So I'll start with this one. This is Wardell Gray Memorial Album, or Memorial Volume 2. This is on, obviously this is Prestige. This is a original mono on the Black and Yellow Fireworks label. Deep Groove, New York City. And it's funny, it says jazz on this side, so it might be upside down, but they stamped a jazz into it just in case you weren't clear that it was jazz. But just it's kind of like the Clifford Brown Memorial albums. He had died at this point, I believe. He died in like 55. I'm not sure if it says on here. But I believe he died in like 55, and this was just a 2 LP set that kind of put together some of his early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. This session is session from August 1950 and December 1951, so 50-51 material. This originally came out in 1955. 7009 is the catalog number, so this is the 9th Prestige album to come out as as part of a 12-inch. Sounds great. It's got more of a bop style, obviously, because the music is from the early 50s. It has Art Farmer on it. It's kind of a combination. I think it's the A side has. Is it the A side? Yeah. Most of the tracks have Art Farmer on trumpet, Hampton Hawes on piano. But then there's also a few tracks that have Sonny Chris on alto sax, Clark Terry's on the trumpet. Just trying to pick out the bigger names. Dexter Gordon plays on one track on the B side called Move. And just a great album. Again, very fast moving. This is the first recording of Farmer's Market, Art Farmer. So that's kind of what kind of helped him rise to fame, but a great album overall. Next one. So the next few, actually the remaining, came from a collection that Tom at Bop Shop Records, the owner of the Bop Shop, had gone in like early January. There was a woman that was a widow of a gentleman that was a big a big radio kind of producer, not radio producer, like a radio host in the 50s and 60s. And what was customary back then was that promo copies would be sent to the stations for them to kind of put that on the air to try to get more publicity for it and kind of get more notice to the public about the record. So I picked up a few of them. The first one, Portrait of Farmer, Art Farmer. This was recorded in, let's see if it says, April and May of 1958. This is on Contemporary. This is the first original Contemporary record that I have in my collection. Really great deep groove. This is a promo copy. So sample record, not for sale. It actually says that on both sides. So just a really great session. Whoops. Really great session. Sounds amazing. Art sounds incredible on this. This is kind of the era of Art Farmer that I enjoy, the late 50s, early 60s. He plays the trumpet actually on all of this. And what's significant about that is that as they moved into the 60s. So around, I believe it might have been 59 or 1960, Art changes to playing the flugelhorn. So a lot of the albums that he's on for like Atlantic and his albums with Benny Golson as part of the Jazz Tet, he is playing the flugelhorn, and this is one of those early sessions where he still has the trumpet. That's what he's still playing. So there's those. This is from my most recent trip. 6 pieces of silver, Horace Silver. This is originally from 1957. It was recorded late 56 and came out in 57. I'm actually going to be talking about this as part of the Blue Note 1500 series, but it has Donald Byrd on trumpet, Hank Mobley on tenor sax, Horace Silver's on the piano, Dud Watkins on bass, and Louis Hayes is on the drums. This is not an original, but this is an early mono copy. This has the Blue Note Records Inc., 47 West 63rd NYC. It's deep groove on both sides. Has the RVG stamp. Has the ear or the plastolate P in the dead wax. And I'm learning a lot more about what to kind of look for original pressings of Blue Notes and kind of early pressings. I may do a follow-up video on the Blue Note records, kind of similar to the Prestige, but I'm not going to go as in-depth as I did because I've actually already made a video back in April about the Blue Note records being able to identify the pressings, but there are a few more nuances with the Blue Note catalog when it comes to that, so I think that's something worth noting. But really great session. Donald Byrd sounds incredible on this. This is one of his early sessions. In jazz in general. Hank Mobley is amazing on this as well. 2 of the tracks have just Horace Silver, and then Dud Watkins and Louis Hayes as a trio. So a great, enjoyable album that I actually just spun and sounds incredible. The last 2 are probably the biggest finds that I probably ever had. These albums weren't cheap, but they are absolute insane jazz records. Both of them are promo copies, and again, they came from this widow of this radio host, a radio station person. He kept the records in a glass case. The owner told me that they barely got played. Some of them actually didn't even look like there was any spindle wear on them, and it just it's incredible what these albums are. So this first one, All Night Long, the Prestige All Stars. So this is part of a 5 or 6 album set that occurred in the maybe 56, 57, may have spanned even into the later parts of the 50s, but it's kind of, I think it's actually credited to Kenny Burrell on the guitar, but it's just got an incredible lineup. Let me put this down for a second. But just the jacket itself, I mean, it's got absolutely pristine corners. There's very little wear, if anything. Again, they put not for sale. That was kind of the marker for Prestige. It's got Hank Mobley on tenor sax, Donald Byrd's on trumpet, Jerome Richardson's on the flute, and then on one track he plays the tenor sax. Kenny Burrell is on guitar, Mel Waldron's on piano, Dud Watkins is on bass, and then Arthur Taylor's on the drums. There's 2 songs on each. Actually, sorry, there's the A side only has 1 song. It's an entire, I think it's 18 minutes long, All Night Long, and then there's 3 tracks that are on the B side. The standout, I mean, it's hard to pick somebody that's kind of rises above the rest, because Kenny Burrell provides incredible guitar playing. Hank Mobley, tenor sax, Donald Byrd, trumpet, incredible playing by them. But Jerome Richardson on the flute, man, I'm not a huge fan of the flute on jazz sessions. I don't mind it if it's kind of here and there, like James Spaulding. I really like his contributions to a lot of the Freddie Hubbard records in the 60s, but man, Jerome Richardson on the flute is incredible. It is, I don't even know what, it's like, he's got this bluesy kind of feel, but he's rocking out like he's playing a guitar on the flute. It's incredible, especially on All Night Long. He has like a 4 or 5 minute solo, and it's just insane. So really great album. This has the Not For Sale as well on it. Oops. So Not For Sale is only on the one side, but this is original 446 West 50th New York City labels. Just incredible, very clean. It's got a hair on it, but there you go. But there's a few more. Did already listen to this a few weeks ago, and it sounds incredible as well. It's actually become probably my top 3 favorite finds, might even be my favorite find of the year so far. Love the cover. It's really amazing. And then the last one is the biggest find probably since I've been collecting jazz. And this is an album that I have been looking for quite a bit of time, and have never really pulled the trigger because really have not seen it a lot, but also just really looking for a 50s or 60s pressing. And that is Coltrane. John Coltrane. This is an original mono on the New York City labels. This is also a promo copy. This has got the Not For Sale. This is even probably just as clean. Kind of a little bit of marks on the back, but nothing that's honestly to complain about at all. Very well preserved. This is also it's probably from late 57, I would say, maybe early 58 is when this came out. This is John Coltrane's first session as a leader. At around this point, he had actually just left Miles Davis group, kind of fired actually because of his drug habits. But this was his first album to kind of test the waters to see what he kind of was given the freedom for the first time. Being in Miles Davis group, you kind of do what he says, and so John Coltrane kind of has the ability to kind of do his own thing on this. Hard to pick a favorite song, even the ballads, which is something that I enjoy. I know that they are a common presence on the albums, on jazz records in general, but his interpretations of the ballads on this are great. Very soulful, very emotional. You can already start to see that he's trying to form his sound, trying to find what he really has to say. So an incredible album. Very lucky to have this in my collection. And yeah, so I picked this up the last time that I was in Rochester, not this past weekend. I actually only got the Horace Silver and then a few things that I showed in the other video, last video that I had put out a few days ago. But that is it for the kind of Grail edition of my most recent vinyl finds. All the albums that I found in this last kind of few weeks, really last month, I should say, have been some amazing, amazing finds. And I've been really very lucky to be kind of at the right place at the right time and to be able to pick this stuff up. He's still got a lot of records that I haven't looked through or kind of haven't really decided to kind of not go with in that collection. But man, there was some incredible things in that collection. There was original Red Garland, original Bill Evans. Everything was in like VG++, near mint condition. Very rarely played again. Very well taken care of. They weren't found in like a dusty basement. They were put in this glass case to be preserved. And the story actually is, and I'll say this kind of as a last note for the video, that the owner, Tom, recalled this conversation that he had with this woman that was selling these records, that she simply went onto Google and typed in record stores nearest to me, And the first thing that came up was Bop Shop Records. So she obviously lived in Rochester. She was actually probably pretty close to the Bop Shop for that store to have been the first one, because there are quite a few that are in a very small, like maybe less than 10-mile radius. And so just kind of a lucky thing. It's great that Tom was able to get those records. Next time I go, I'm going to continue to be looking through that. But I've picked out a really great bunch of records, things that I don't think I ever really thought that I would have, especially that Coltrane. Never really thought that I would have that in my collection, but one that I'm really glad to have. 6 Pieces of Silver was another one that's been on my want list for a while, and have just kind of held off. I really have not been able to find that one either, but yeah, that'll be it for this video. Hope that you liked it. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Again, follow me on Instagram, _analog archive. I follow back people that are interested in vinyl, and so I will follow you back if you follow me. But I hope that you enjoyed what you saw, and I will see you in the next final video. Bye.